I just happened to catch this show on Netflix called Rhythm and Flow. I don't know if you're familiar with that.
The game show or
It's
the
contested.
American Idol type thing.
Yeah, they're trying to find the next hottest
Chance the Rapper.
Yeah, and the 3 celebrity judges are Chance the Rapper, Cardi B, and T.I. And they started out in L.A., but they had Snoop represent the West Coast.
Right.
And then they go to each judge's respective regions, and they have other rappers from those regions as to replace the other 2 judges.
Mm-hmm.
So like in New York, it was Cardi B, Fat Joe, and Jadakiss. And in Atlanta, it was Quavo and Big Boy.
Right.
And I said the most disappointing thing to me about this, and this is why I think rap sucks now. Everybody had the same flow, cadence, rhythm, and beat. Even New York did that. And that's where my heart sank. Because I went, New York. Like Jay-Z said, New York, home of the spitters. We home of the spitters. Rakim, Nas, Biggie, Big L, Big Pun, Jadakiss. That's what we do. Right. Lyrics. And to have New Yorkers. I'm like, what the are we doing? And when you look at how special rap was in the 90s, which is considered the golden years, early 2000s, go to those same regions. West Coast, Snoop, Ice Cube, NWA, Too Short, E40, none of them rapped alike. They had their own style and flavor. East Coast, the I just named, own style and flavor. Wu-Tang, EPMD, they didn't sound alike. Even the South, Young Jeezy, Lil Wayne, Juvenile, Cash Money, the Ghetto Boys, they had their own style. Now everybody's and I'm just like, it's such garbage now.
I could show you some regional styles.
There's a few out there.
There's very
J.
specific
Cole,
flows
Kendrick
in a lot of
Lamar,
different
Dave
parts of the
East.
country.
Yeah, but that, again, back in the 90s, exceptions to the rule, but, that wasn't the rule. The exceptions were never the rule.
Can I play you something? I want to get your opinion. Have you watched a lot of drill music?
I can't stand it. I can't stand it.
I want to show you this one kid because this, to me, is like the most extreme drill that I could imagine. This is like getting shot in the face with a machine gun.
Will I be able to hear it?
Yeah, you're going to hear it through the headphones.
Right, okay.
For the record, this is Use G's Dead Lokes.
You ain't got to play no more.
What do you think?
That feels like a booger I can't reach. The level of irritation.
What is it about it?
It's repetitive.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I'm saying with rhythm and flow. Everybody sounds like that. Are you fucking serious? When you look at the Midwest, Royce the 5'9", Common, Chance, Kanye, none of them sound alike.
But Chicago is who originated this sound, even though they have a totally different take on it.
That's fine. But what are you saying? First of all, I couldn't even understand them.
That's probably the most problematic about it, is that whole beginning part was him basically talking about all the dead gang enemies that he's smoking on.
He sounded like he swallowed the blunt he was smoking.
Yeah, he's got a voice.
Scorched his
reminds
lungs.
me of Cannibal Corpse. You remember death metal and shit? No.
Oh, is that?
Yeah, kind of reminds me of that.
Yeah, dude. Nas had a song called Rewind. I don't know if you're familiar.
I am familiar.
He rapped backwards. And it made
old head hip hop dudes always bring up that song for the record.
No. But here's why you got.
I respect it, and you're right.
But here's why you have to respect it.
Okay.
You know how hard it is to rap forward? He rapped backward, and it
Right.
all made sense. It all flowed. The story tracked. Come on, man. That's remarkable.
No, that was good.
One of my favorite songs by Biggie, Niggas Bleed. When you listen to him tell this story, he paints such a vivid picture. Then you hear the melody as the song plays. It felt like you were watching a scene out of a Scorsese movie. That's artistry. Auto-tune. There's no artistry in that. None.
Yeah, I mean, they keep it to some pretty strict parameters for a lot of these rappers these days.
Garbage.
So is there anything new that you like?
Dude, listen, I'm 48, so I don't really delve into hip hop like I used to because I think that's a young person's game. So if I listen to anything, I'm keeping it my era.
Right.
But like I said, as far as this new era, J. Cole, Kendrick Lamar, Dave East.
You know Benny the Butcher?
No, but I've heard people talk about him.
Oh, you'd love
Lucas Joyner.
Lucas, you motherfucker.
Oh, see, that's how, exactly. I'm out of touch. My jersey's in the rafters.
I almost let it go, too. I almost forgot. I almost didn't notice.
That's what I'm saying, man. So, yeah, there's a few that you know, I hear. But for the most part, man, I come from that era where we was beasts, you know? So, you know, how do you go from lobster to fish sticks? I mean?
All right, I feel you. I personally like it, but I do.
You know what I like about you?
It has some limitations.
You know what I like about you? And I finally said
I let a guy fuck my wife?
No, I'd like that. I'd like it if you let me fuck your wife. I'd like that about you. You know, I do Vlad a lot, and I got nothing but love for Vlad. And I even called him out on this. And
Much love for Vlad.
People love the fact that I called him out on that. But you don't talk over your guests, and you let your guests, like a good host, you know, put their feet up on your coffee table.
Well, especially when I'm dealing with someone like you who's liable to jump into a bit at any given moment. And sometimes I realize, like, oh, he's said this before. He's got a little bit of material saved up here.
I wouldn't necessarily call it a bit. It's just, you know, certain things when situations present themselves,
right.
If you act accordingly, it lends to what we're doing.
But I feel like interrupting too much is like the main thing holding back the average person from being like truly good at podcasting. Like you have to be willing to let the other people get their ideas out and really take turns communicating rather than kind of talking over each other.
Here's what I wanted to ask you, because people say that, and I guess, you know, they associate this with narcissism, but like Vlad likes to hear himself talk. That's why he cuts everybody off and he does most of the talking. What do they say about you, though?
They say I hype up like gang type beef type stuff too much. I'll interview one guy, ask him about someone who he has beef with, and then interview the other guy a month later and ask him about the other person. And you know, I get shit for that. I get a lot of shit. Rolling Stone decided to write hit pieces about me because I fucking had the nerve to do like a debate between like a very, very liberal political streamer named Destiny and then a former white supremacist, Richard Spencer. I got annihilated. They wrote multiple hit pieces about me. I'm lucky I'm still here. But they went so hard trying to destroy me on the basis of me doing this debate.
But is that a classic case of no such thing as bad press?
I think it could have easily been bad, but through sheer determination, I made it through the fire.
I don't want to be tacky, but I wanted to take two opportunities to do this. So if I may take one now and then one towards the end of the podcast. Make sure y'all check out my podcast, Spears and Steinberg. Available on all streaming platforms. Hit me up in Instagram under my DM, Aries Spears. Start from the beginning. I know there's a lot of episodes, but you got to start from the beginning. It lends itself comedically to jokes, callbacks, characters, and also my YouTube channel, Spearsberg Pod. Hit subscribe. Thank you.
How many episodes in are you?
Like 480 something.
Start at the beginning.
No, but listen, we like masturbation and potato chips. Once you start, you can't stop.
Yeah.
You can't just eat one chip.
But any podcast I've ever started listening to, I pretty much start on the most recent episode.
Listen, I know that sounds like a tall order, but when I've suggested that on my podcast and people have done it, they go, we love that. Because I do characters, a lot of callbacks, a lot of jokes, where if you listen to it out of sequence, certain things might not click comedically. You won't know certain references. When I do certain characters, if you don't know the origin, you might feel lost. But if I feel like this, if it's good enough, how's that any different from when you buy whatever your season DVD favorite show is or stream it? I just gave away my age, DVD.
Right.
But stream it and you binge watch.
My thing, I envy the fans so much because they have so much more time than me to just consume content, a lot of them, you know?
Right.
When you realize that, like, oh, somebody drives Postmates or they're a truck driver or whatever. And that's like because a lot of people I think who listen to insane amounts of podcasts and have like really deep nuanced takes on Reddit or doing YouTube video essays or whatever. I think a lot of them have like jobs that sort of allow them to listen to a shitload of podcasts. And for me, it's like I have to be very choosy about what I'm going to actually take time to listen to because I just don't have as much time as I wish I did.
But you're a creator of content, so that hits a little different for you.
Yeah, but I'm a fan too, and I really want to be able to put in hours of listening to people, at least because the more I listen to somebody, the more I start to develop like a critique of them, or I feel like I can actually learn from them. A lot of times I'll listen to a Joe Rogan interview with somebody, and for the first half hour, I'll think that the guest is great. And by the end of the 3 hours, I have a whole like essay written in my head about why I don't like this guy and how I think he could be better as a podcaster.
Listen, who's to say that Joe's formula is wrong? He's $100 million guy,
right?
Because of it. But
Joe, I have to respect.
But 3 hours though, I just think there's a such thing as too much.
Yeah.
And like that classic Hollywood saying, leave them wanting more. Why do you need 3 hours of something?
And he'll do 3 hours a couple times a week. I feel like I want to go.
But maybe that's why you got 100 mil.
An hour to 2 hours.
Right.
As soon as I get to 3 hours. But I have interviewed people where it's like I needed to do 3 or 4 hours in order to cover all the shit that I wanted to cover. Especially when you're doing somebody's life the whole way through and there's like a bunch of different chapters and shit and you're trying to tell the whole story.
Right.
But, man, what about like an 8-hour podcast? A couple pee breaks. Maybe a lunch break.
That would surely depend on the guest. If they're that fascinating and interesting.
Right.
That they can consume you for 8 hours.
Right.
But goddamn, who's that brilliant?
I don't know.
Like even Dave Chappelle, who I think held the record, and prior to him, I think it was Dane Cook, on the most hours put in on stage at a comedy club.
Right.
And as much as I love me some Dave, and I think Dave is the GOAT,
right.
8 hours, goddamn.
No, yeah, that would be tough. That would be tough to make it through that. Have you ever listened to King Von?
No.
I'm gonna play you, and I'm gonna get some opinions from you here. Hopefully, what do you think?
I'll tip my hat to the
storytelling,
to the effort of,
gotta respect
of
it,
storytelling.
Right? Yeah,
but dude, between the dudes named Lil and this shit, I can't.
This guy's like the most influential drill street rapper.
Yeah, listen, and this is why I guess we get called old heads and dinosaurs.
You can't put him next to Jadakiss?
Hell no! Get in your fucking mind!
I could easily have them both on the same playlist. Same playlist, man.
Bar for bar? No!
Oh, I wish we lived to see that. That would have been beautiful.
That would have been a massacre.
I would have loved it.
Jadakiss is one of the, I would say, top 3 in lyrical ability.
I'm not denying that. But I still think Vaughn could do his thing.
I don't think that there's anybody other than maybe J. Cole and Dave East that you could put in a top 10 over 90s, 2000 rappers.